It's it's a question of how political power sees itself. And I call this story the waterboard story. And it was about 2010, February. I had a patient that came to me who's getting ill, and I heard someone else in this area was getting ill, but for unknown reason. It was just a mystery. And it turned out that this other woman had her water tested, and turned out that she had a purifier that was actually concentrating a chemical that was added to the water system. We've got some really pure water in our area. I live in Colorado, and it comes down from the mountain, and it feeds into these aquifers, and it's pumped out. But it was the whole system was fed a chemical called an orthopolyphosphate. Now, this is a chemical that's used as a sequestering agent in pipes in Navy ships. And they were putting it in our drinking water. And they justified it by saying that it was keeping corrosion down. And they also called it safe, which is, I'll get into that in a minute. But this is what happened. I saw this patient, and we were trying to figure out why she wasn't feeling well, and we had to take a lot into account. Is anything changed? Is her house? Was there something in the house that an animal? Was it something she was taking internally? Well, we narrowed it down, and we found out that it was when she stopped drinking the water, she got better. And empirically, we found that the pets were also getting sick, and when they stopped drinking the water, there was cases after case after case of the pets getting better. In this area, there's some vacation homes, so people would bring their pets, and they would get sick just after drinking the water. So I did my own investigation, and I found out that this was a non-natural occurring phosphate. And what it does is it grinds down the metals of the pipe, and it makes them very small, and it creates a lining in the copper piping. So I went to the water board, and I hardly at any time. I just got back from clinic early in the morning, like 3 in the morning, and I had to wake up and get to this board meeting. It was like 8:30 or something. And so I got there, and I sat down in not more than 2 minutes. I had sat down to get myself together because I had some notes to tell this board that I had made discovery of something that they should know about. I was told, okay, go, you've got 3 minutes. And I had all this compiled information, and I was going to tell the whole story in 3 minutes. So nonetheless, I stood up to it. I started talking, and just when I started talking, one of the board members started attacking my credentials. They started attacking me as being a credible person, and that I wouldn't have, the awareness of what a chemical does and how it would affect people. And here I am stating a concern of mine. So this board member and the others were listening, was doing his best to discredit me. Now, this was a 3-minute talk, right? And he started talking over me. I ended up talking 15 minutes. And the lady that was next to me was also a doctor. And she was infuriated and said, "How dare you? This man came to you with his knowledge and his concern about our public, and what do? You insult him." And she went on and on. It was quite an amazing thing. There was even some applause, and it was just the most crazy kind of circumstance. But anyway, the whole point is that this meeting took on an energy where I was adversarial. I was calling them on something that needed to be addressed for the public's concern. And how many hydrotherapist practitioners do you have in the state of Colorado, let alone the entire, country? And I was there offering my expertise, and they would have nothing of it. In fact, when I insisted that something be done about it, I was scoffed and laughed at. So what happened is it started to create a buzz in the community. People were getting concerned. They may be getting sick from this chemical being added as a sequestering agent to the pipes. And what did I do? I wrote articles. I was informed. I asked polymer chemist friends of mine, physicists. I had people that were in chemistry that I'd learned more about this topic, and it was amazing to see the depths of how far this went. Long story short, I'd love to tell more story, but what had happened is I had held meetings at my home to make the public aware of what was going on. And what happened is one of the people that used to work at the water board, he was fired. And he was fired for the very reason of bringing up this concern and that the orthopolyphosphate may be causing health problems in people and should be withdrawn immediately. And he was raising the question, and he was fired. And it was, they may have convoluted it into other things, but he was actually raising the question. So he came over. I had presented I put my presentation out there and my research and what the politics were involved, and the public started to ask questions. So we had our very own OWS, not Occupy Wall Street, but Occupy Water and Sanitation. And we went down there in great numbers, and they had all these people prepared. They had the president of the company was there of Sequest, which was the manufacturer of this chemical. They had the NSF, which approves the chemical, although they're a private agency. They're not a government agency. They just identify what's in the water, what's in the chemical, as it's saying what it is. It doesn't evaluate that it's safe for people's consumption. And it was approved without knowing what any long-term effects were on people interacting with other electrolytes or other substances. And I raised the question. I said to these experts, these are people on the phone with a community that's sitting down doing OWS in numbers for this small community. It was a lot. I don't know, 30, 35 or something, I don't know, a lot of people. So I asked the question straight out, what happens if this phosphate, you claim that it's processed through the body in a normal and organic way, what if there's an inability to process this? How does it affect the electrolytes? So they didn't know how to answer me. And the fight went on. In fact, they had hired an attorney to tell me to cease and desist putting up my meetings on YouTube immediately, as it was unlawful. I had to hire an attorney that said it was not only in my rights, but it was it was a Concerned Citizen Act. In fact, the state of Colorado has this law called Volunteer Information Act that protected me, and I was covered under the first constitutional right. So I basically was speaking up, and I was being told that they would have a lawsuit against me for creating this information. So it became a battle. So the state was contacted. It went through a number of different people, including the director of water safety. It went to the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. I talked to different people there and got them involved. We had to hire an outside attorney, and for another one of the residents that got ill on the water that had canker sores for 2 years. And she stopped the water, and it went away within a week. This was a battle. It was totally unexpected. This went on, but the thing that was so very interesting to me was that people were doing everything they could to defend the use of substance that was not approved. not approved for safety, and it was being defended at every turn. So it actually polarized the community. And it was not expected again, but I found that there was a lot of denial going on. So what did I do? I stood up and said, I will run for the water board because the water board needs people like me. Well, I ran with six other people, and there was three of us that were in agreement. I did not get elected. And one of the members that was in agreement with the way things should change was elected. And just 2 months ago, a year and a half later, after all of this ridiculous, if you don't mind me saying so, just fighting and defensive posturing, it has finally been removed because I and other people stood up to being better consumers and insisted that they would not have their water poisoned and causing health problems in their day-to-day life. They now have water without the chemical orthopolyphosphate.